To the markets now, where the six-day rally came to an abrupt halt. The ASX fell sharply with banks and big miners out of favour. The Australian dollar, meanwhile, has popped back above 74 US cents. RBA Governor Glenn Stevens today dodging the issue of whether it needed to go lower. And Martin Lakos from Macquarie Private Wealth joins me now. And now, Martin, the ASX had clawed its way back to where it was, 6 weeks ago? What happened today?
Yes, indeed, Tiki. In fact, since the beginning of this month, we're up about 6% or over 300 points, but we fell 92 points or 1.6%. There certainly wasn't the idea ahead of the morning session that the overseas news and the commodity price outcomes would have seen this market down as much. It did accelerate through our afternoon, and that was sort of backed up by a weak Chinese Shanghai market, which is just starting to recover as we speak. There was probably some anticipation in the last 6 days rally of the possibility of a early rate cut by the Reserve Bank, but inflation data today and the speech that you mentioned would have put paid to that. We're still of the view there'll be a rate cut in November, taking official cash rates down to 1.75%. But as you mentioned, Tiki, all sectors were hit pretty hard, in particular materials, with really no lead from the commodity complex at all.
Yeah, Governor's comments around growth are pretty amazing, I think. But look, let's go to a couple of stocks. Full steam ahead for BHP with enormous iron ore production numbers at these lower prices, and big hit to copper business.
Yeah, look, really strong numbers across the group. A production rise of 9%, where you had iron ore up 13%, 254 million tonnes, and they actually achieved an average price in the region of, in the region of $61 a tonne, which is well above the current spot prices. Petroleum up about 4% in production terms. You mentioned copper. The group saw an unchanged result, but Escondida put in a good performance with Olympic Dam. Not so good, but I think BHP's share price got caught up in today's action overall, down about 2% or 55 cents to the 26-27 level.
OK, now Boral has lifted profit expectations ahead of its result, presumably riding that housing boom.
Yeah, the confession season always, or isn't always negative, Tiki. Boral came out with a trading update ahead of the result on the 27th of August. There's absolutely no doubt the result that they're forecasting is going to be well ahead of analysts and consensus. Now, consensus is looking for about $207 million. It looks like they're going to be in a range of $230 to $240 odd million. Part of that is some property sales, but commentary around operations was still very positive, probably better than most expectations of about 7%. And we're going to be looking for an outlook on their US operations on that result on the 27th of August.
Briefly, reporting season coming up, what's your expectation?
You know, if you extract out the materials space, which obviously impacts that, we're looking for a result of around about 6% growth in earnings for this year. Suncorp kicks off the season on the 4th of August, and we've got a very heavy week through the mid-August period where a lot of companies are reporting. So overall, we're expecting a reasonable result, and that confession season really hasn't come up with too many negative outlook statements so far.
All right, we'll get as many as we can on the show. Martin Lakos, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Tiki.